So, a new movie came out last week called Bohemian Rhapsody, and it is about the band Queen, or more about Freddie Mercury than the whole band themselves, but about the whole story of the band. So Sammy and I last week went and watched it together.
Yes, we did.
Was it good?
Was it good? Well, what do you think, David?
Okay. So I have a lot of things to say about this movie.
So do I.
The first thing that we'll say is I'll throw out the ratings that were given for it before we give our own opinions, because that's a good way to kind of go about this.
Currently, as of today.
As of today, on Rotten Tomatoes, it got a 60%. IMDb has it rated higher at 8.4 out of 10, and Metacritic has it down at a 50. So it's a little all over the place. My personal opinion about this movie is it's got plenty of feel-good moments. It's got its little bit of history, but it's not pieced together well to make it. It's not crafted as a really good story. And I don't know if you felt this way about the beginning, but I felt like they rushed through the entire making of the band and just skipped ahead from him meeting them to the band being popular. And I really thought
immediately.
I thought some of the most interesting parts of the story were going to be that first year, and they didn't. They completely overpassed that.
Yep. The whole development of the band, everybody that isn't Freddie Mercury didn't have a character build. It was just there and said.
Now, that being said, I really did like Remy Malek played Freddie Mercury. I actually thought he did a really good job as an actor in this film. Did you feel that way about him, or did you think that he could have done better?
I fully agree. I already like him as it is, and I thought his Freddie Mercury was amazing. Amazing. Very well done. And he kind of looks like him too. So I thought he played the role really well. And
are his teeth fake? Someone told me the teeth for that movie were actually just like fake teeth.
Yeah, I think they are.
Okay, because I was surprised that they took the time to cast a guy just for one little insult in the movie. They found like a guy with big teeth, but I guess not.
No, I think they're fake. But I think he did a really good job acting. Here's where I sit with, you mentioned the structure of the film. And what I said after leaving the movie was that the film was almost framed in a way where the director switched halfway through the film. And what I mean by that is the movies that does happen in, it is missing parts and then it's added for random parts, and it's very hard to just kind of follow. And then you think, well, that was really random. Why was that there? Or, well, that was missing X, Y, and Z. So, and that's what I felt like after leaving the film. Now, that's on the film structurally. The script was pretty poor. I will say going back to structure, the one thing I really, really liked with the structure of the movie is that it's broken apart based on when and what song they were making at that time. I thought that was so cool. And like I said in going into the last thing, I really want to see more musician movies. David and I have been through two different eras right now. And the first era was our Disney era. You had your Aladdin, you had your princesses, you had basically any Disney kind of cartoon. Then we had our second era, which was our superhero era. And I'm really hoping that this movie kickstarts a music era of film.
I'd be down for that.
because obviously there's that Elton John movie coming out. Now we've heard about Paris. I would love for there to just start kicking different movies like constantly.
Yeah,
just
that'd be
of
awesome.
musicians. I think that would be sweet, and I really hope this did kick off that era. Obviously it did lack in many different aspects, but I really hope that this helps build
I thought
a repertoire for music.
one of the coolest scenes in this movie was when they were just creating Bohemian Rhapsody. I wanted to I don't know. They capture something that I'm sure was created over weeks of time. I'm sure it took them a long time to make it, but just the passion that they have Freddie Mercury showing for how to create it and the band members working together, because they did have their chorals. I thought it was a really neat scene.
I totally agree. And I loved the repetition of saying, do it again, just do it
Higher,
again, just do it
higher.
again, higher, 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 and they just keep going. And that shows how brutal it probably was to make that song.
Did you realize that Mike Myers was in this as Ray Foster? I have a few things to say about Ray Foster.
Which one's Ray Foster?
He was the guy with the big
made-up
beard
guy? Yeah.
that's fake.
Yeah, completely made up.
But Mike Myers is Austin Powers, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I had no idea because with the big beard you couldn't tell.
Speaking of Austin Powers, just so everybody knows, they announced that they're making a new one this weekend. Sorry. Anyways, that's completely off topic, but
Ray Foster was a big part of the film, I thought. They showed him in the very end scene. They showed him throughout. And I think they felt the need to put him in there because they needed a way to visually show kind of how all the producers of that time were feeling. I think they tried to just make him into one person. I don't know.
Is that the guy that turned them down?
Yeah.
I'm sure here's the thing, even though Ray Foster didn't exist, I feel like Queen turned down a lot. You could tell that, even in the movie, but Freddie Mercury was hard to deal with. A lot of musicians of the time were. I know for a fact that song, what is that song that they did with David Bowie?
Under Pressure.
Yeah. I know there was a huge argument and it almost didn't even happen. And they didn't cover that, but I know because I've read it where David Bowie showed up to record it and said, "All right, hit the bass for those notes." And then dun 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 dun. And David Bowie said that's not it. He said that's not what you sent me. And they got in this huge argument. And then finally he said screw it and just recorded it. But I feel like every musician of that time was very hard to deal with. So I get where the producers were coming from, where they wanted it one way and the musicians were obviously rebels and did not want it that way.
I guess I just don't like that they add in a character that wasn't actually a part of their history when they could easily have told some really good stories without having to add in anything that was fake.
See, but that happens with all movies though. Almost any movie that's out there is, even if it's based off of a true story, it's based off of it. It's not the true story. They're going to add in things. So, I don't know.
Other than that, now I'm obsessed with Queen. I had one of the best moments of my life just driving home listening to Queen for an hour. It was awesome.
I have been listening to Queen a lot as well, so the movie does make you want to listen to Queen. It's just not necessarily the best made movie. It's just a really good music movie. And David and I left that movie and I knew both of us were going home and listening to Queen. So. And
also screw Paul. That's just heads up if you watch this movie, screw Paul.
That guy's a jerk. Nobody likes Paul, all right? So anyways, that is kind of our review on Bohemian Rhapsody. David, out of 5 stars or out of 10 stars, what would you give it?
Let's see. I'd probably give it a 7. That's high, but it made me happy. I love music movies. I'd give it a 7.
I would give it a 5.5.
5.5.
Yes. So, but that's, I mean, it's above average.
Yeah.
So, 5.5. I personally, if it wasn't Queen, I would be waiting to get this for $1 on Redbox.
That's a decent argument.
So,
but it was Queen, so that's why I get it higher
exactly.
up.
Well, it was Queen. That's why I gave it a 5.5.
Exactly.